This video is a response to Ranty and Anthony, who believe that this light over here is the mirror ball and believe that mirror ball shouldn't be seen from Hoyle Lake. As I showed in my previous video, when you line up the lines of sight from Hoyle Lake to the objects in question, the mirror ball, the big one, the ice blast, and the Blackpool Tower, and you zoom in, we can overlay the picture over the lines of sight. Now, if you overlay the picture over the lines of sight, this is what happens. You can overlay the line of sight to the tower, the line of sight to the big one, the line of sight to the ice pick falls exactly where this line is. This is the line of sight to the mirror ball, and if the mirror ball was visible, you should be able to see a light here, but you don't. Now, if we try to line up the big one with the mirror ball, these two lines of sight, you can see that the tower doesn't fall in the correct spot anymore. Now, Ranty's reply was that if you overlay the picture over a map, this is what happens. You can put Blackpool Tower here, the big one over here, the mirror ball will line up with this light. So he claims that this is proof that this is the mirror ball. There's many problems with this assertion. The line of sight is where you're meant to place the photograph along the lines of sight. You can't place a photograph sideways. And if you could, there's many features that are missing. For example, the ice blast is missing. If this is a correct photograph, we should see a light here for the ice blast. It's the same height or similar height as the big one. Why don't we see it? And furthermore, there are several ways of showing that this method of overlaying a photo over a map is incorrect. Here we have a photo taken from Southport by Ranty, and this time it's in daytime, so we can identify all the objects involved. We have the tower, we have the big one roller coaster, and we have the ice blast ride. So let's see. This photo was taken from Southport, from a different area, and let's see which method of triangulating is going to produce the correct result. So let's try to use Ranty's method of overlaying a photo over a map. So here we have the big one, we have the ice blast, and we have the tower. Let's see if we can line them up. So if we try to line up the big one and the Blackpool Tower, you can see the ice blast doesn't line up at all. Now, if we try to line up the big one and the ice blast, now the Blackpool Tower doesn't line up. What is the correct method? The correct method is to put a picture over the lines of sight. So here we have the lines of sight from Southport to the big one, the ice blast, and the Blackpool Tower. Here we have it zoomed in, the big one, the ice blast, and Blackpool Tower. What do you see when you overlay a photograph over the lines of sight? You can see that the lines of sight of the big one, the ice blast, and the Blackpool Tower all line up with the lines of sight. So this proves that the correct method of identifying objects is lining up the photo with the line of sight. So in the case of the Hoyle Lake photo, the night photos, the lines of sight that this lines up with is the big one and the ice blast. It does not line up with the mirror ball, therefore the mirror ball is not this light. Finally, Ranty Rant says that changing the orientation of a camera has no effect on the relative distance between various objects. So here I placed markers at 0 feet, 600 feet, 1200 feet. This has been measured precisely. And let's see what changing the relative angle of the camera does. We're going to come to a more oblique look. Pay attention to how long the red line and the green lines appear. The distance between this marker and this marker, in other words, the length of the red line, is the same as this marker and this marker. They're both the same distance, yet the red line appears a lot shorter than the green line. So changing the orientation of a camera can and does change the relative angle between objects. So Ranty Rant's attempt to saying it makes no difference how you orientate the camera, that is incorrect. In conclusion, we can conclude conclusively that this light over here cannot be the mirror ball. If it was the mirror ball, we would have to see it over here.